Hey guys, welcome back to a brand new Ninjago video here on the channel. My name is TannerFishies. In today's video, we are going to be discussing a few statements brought to us by Ninjago series head writer Doc Wyatt over on Blue Sky, and these are statements from a few days ago that I initially was not going to cover at all, but I did receive a few requests to talk about them, especially some of these smaller topics, again, that I didn't really plan on talking about, so I figured why not just make one big video, including a bunch of smaller topics that really don't have much in terms of discussion. But again, people were just asking for my thoughts, so I figured why not. Like I said, gonna be one of those videos with multiple subjects, starting with this question right here. The realm of Oni and dragons is the very first realm to exist, and the rest of the realms, including the cursed, departed, and the underworld, aka the realms you go when you die, came later, which means that these three realms did not always exist. What happened to you if you died before the cursed, departed, and underworld realms existed? To which Doc Wyatt replies, before the afterlife realms existed to capture them, souls simply moved on. And obviously, right? Season 3 did talk about this too, the idea that souls needed to move on eventually. That's exactly what Moro's whole purpose was in Season 3 of Dragon's Rising. He existed to guide souls through the spectral lands to help them move on to whatever comes next, whether it be a new plane of existence or some kind of afterlife. It's hard to say, but that is the same place that souls went initially before the idea of these afterlife realms existed. At some point after the first realm and before the merge, obviously the departed realm was pretty much the hub for all people that died anywhere throughout any of the realms. The cursed realm and the underworld were kind of just for disgraced warriors or cursed souls, anything like that. But before that, the souls would simply just move on, which is the exact same thing that we are seeing nowadays from Ninjago following the merge. Next up here, someone asks this question. There's a bit of confusion in the Ninjago community, but are the mech shorts canon or are they not canon? Because you have previously mentioned on Twitter that they were canon, but recently at Comic-Con you changed your answer. Can we get a concrete answer, please? To which Doc Wyatt replies, don't remember talking about the mech shorts at Comic-Con. Yes, they are canon. Sorry for any confusion. Not sure where that's coming from. Yeah, so from what I understand, this whole discussion comes from the idea that there apparently wasn't a year-long time skip in between Season 1 and Season 2. From what I recall, that was mentioned at Comic-Con of this year as not being the case, even though the Elemental Mechs shorts do kind of suggest a year. And again, with the idea of the year time skip not being there anymore or not being considered canon, I think some people just assumed that the mech shorts also were not canon. I know we had this discussion a while ago too. But now the Elemental Mechs shorts are completely canon, obviously, despite there being pretty much nothing that suggested otherwise. A lot of what happens in Season 2 was very much set up by the Elemental Mechs shorts, so naturally they probably would be canon. The only thing that was questionable again was that year-long time skip, which I guess is still up in the air, but time frames in Ninjago have always been kind of questionable, so obviously I feel like this could totally change if the writers need it to. But as of right now, the Elemental Mechs shorts are completely canon, and now we finally cleared up any confusion. Next up here, we have this question, which could totally mean something for Ninjago Dragon's Rising Season 4. Will the Source Dragon energy reservoirs be more perceivable to Lloyd because he's a conduit, or will that not make any difference? To which Doc Wyatt replies, with training he could master such a skill. So what skill is Lloyd even supposed to master here? The idea of transferring Source Dragon energy from the reservoirs maybe to elemental masters? I mean, obviously Lloyd, being a Source Dragon conduit, has experienced Source Dragon energy in the past many times. So theoretically speaking, again, if he would come across one of these Source Dragon energy reservoirs, which again are very much implied now to exist for each of these Source Dragons out there, maybe he could totally harness the power of the reservoirs, whether it be to increase his own power, give power to, again, another elemental master, or simply harness Source Dragon energy for some other purpose. Maybe even to create dragon icons. Maybe we could see Lloyd do something like that in the future as well. It's hard to say, but it does seem like Lloyd could totally harness the power of these Source Dragon reservoirs if he really wanted to. And considering that Doc Wyatt has an answer for it, I would not be surprised if we saw something similar to this happen in Dragons Rising Season 4. We know that Season 4 will also focus on Lloyd's powers individually, and will also more likely than not cover these Source Dragon reservoirs, since that's been hinted at many times before as well. Either way, sounds like Lloyd could totally tap into these reservoirs if he really wanted to. And lastly here, we have a couple of random little questions here that I thought were vaguely interesting. These questions are more so what people wanted me to talk about. I might not have much to say, but let's just go through them quick. Apparently Dareth does have a last name, which again, not sure what to make of that considering that the last name was not confirmed. All that was confirmed is that Dareth has a last name, so that's interesting. Also, apparently Yang still lives in the Temple of Air Jitsu, which again is to be expected. I do wonder though where the Temple of Air Jitsu is following the merge. Is it still floating somewhere in the sky, or did it finally solidify on the ground somewhere? Would totally love to see the Temple of Air Jitsu again at some point in the Ninjago series. And lastly here, we do have the confirmation that sand eels, as seen in Ninjago Skybound, and also grundles, neither of those species are from the Land of Monsters, which I do enjoy. I do like the idea of a lot of previous monster type characters and species being from the Land of Monsters, but also sand eels and grundles especially were very much implied to come from Ninjago, with the grundles eventually becoming extinct due to apparently a resource collapse, but still the grundles were very much native to Ninjago, at least in early lore. Glad to see that they are not retconned to come from the Land of Monsters. Same thing with the sand eels, though I feel like the grundles are a lot more of a big deal. Like I said, I do like the idea of a lot of the previous monster type creatures like the Star Teeth being retconned to come from the Land of Monsters, but I feel like Ninjago needs its own species too. Not everything that we saw in Ninjago needs to come from another realm. Despite a lot of things like, again, the Star Teeth or the Serpentine being confirmed to come from other realms, I'm glad that Ninjago still has some stuff to call its own. But with that being said, everyone, that's going to pretty much wrap it up for my thoughts here regarding all of these smaller Doc Wyatt answers that I really didn't have much to talk about. But like I said, a lot of folks were just asking for my thoughts. Figured why not, put a bunch of these smaller topics into one longer video. Couldn't possibly hurt at all. And who knows, maybe you found some of these to be mildly interesting. I think the most interesting statement by far is the one related to Lloyd and the Source Dragon energy reservoirs. Like I said, I do expect to see something like that in Season 4 of Dragons Rising. But leave all of your thoughts down below in the comments, everyone. That's going to pretty much wrap it up for my thoughts here. Thank you so much for tuning in. What exactly do you guys think about all of these questions and the aforementioned answers? Leave all of your thoughts down below, and thank you so much for tuning in. That'll pretty much wrap it up for my thoughts here. Peace.